Hello. As always, I am putting my question of the day to the side so I don't forget it. Pin the message, and there we go. All right, so I have caught you during the day. So glad to see you. Let's see. You can see some of my clutter in the back, but that's all right. Put that there. So I can see my notes. Good afternoon. So glad to see you. I'm talking about giving some advice today to new Black women travelers. I've spoken to a handful of Black women travelers and people because people have seen me in different spaces online, usually on like a podcast or something like that. And people, Black women in particular, come to me asking me questions about being able to go abroad or take their writing business abroad or to start a writing business to go abroad. And this is just some of the advice that I find giving myself. Or even when I forgot to add this part, even when I meet people on their first trip overseas, um, and we meet for like lunch or something. And I'll get more into it when we get into what the particular advice is. But I just wanted to be able to do a video to be able to share some of my insights on what I have learned about myself that might be helpful for you as a new traveler. I'm talking in general about people who want to travel long term and not necessarily people who are, like if you're just doing a quick week long vacation. It may or may not apply to you. So I'm talking about long term travelers, people who want to be able to take their business abroad or to be able to take an extended break abroad. I think this would be pertinent to you. So, my advice to new Black women travelers, if you don't know who I am, my name is Halana Black. I am a freelance writing, traveling nomad. I've had my business since let's see, like January of 2015, um, and for the last 5 years, I have been traveling on the road. I started off in Thailand, and at the current moment, I'm in Kigali, Rwanda. And I've been here about 2 years, and I'm actually in my last few weeks of being here. So I'm really excited about moving on to, I think this would be my eighth country since I've left the States 5 years ago. So, my advice to new Black women travelers, number one, is to resist the urge to settle down immediately. Resist the urge to settle down in any one country immediately. Um, I think this is particularly important for those of you who are looking to come to the continent of Africa, any country really, Rwanda or anywhere. I get a lot of questions from people who are like, "Oh, I want to be able to buy a house. I want to buy land. Um, what else they want to do? Um, They want to be able to easily start a business." And while all those things are good things, I certainly encourage people to want to go abroad and to be able to start their life someplace else. But if you're new to traveling, I think it's sort of difficult for you to really understand. Um, it's difficult to be able to understand or to be able to make choices about buying land or buying a house or starting a business in a place that you haven't been to. And especially if you're not really, if you haven't really traveled a lot in your life. So this is like people like getting a passport is brand new to you, or maybe you've been on a couple of cruises. You went to Jamaica on a family vacation a couple of times, but you've never really picked up your life and gone to a culture that is very different from the one that you come from, and you want to be able to start all these new initiatives. Again, nothing wrong with wanting to do that. I'm not discouraging that you want to come to Africa or anywhere place else in the world, want to buy land. All of those are wonderful things by itself. But let me say this. When you come to a new country, Africa, especially as an African country, especially, um, you got to give yourself some time to learn who to trust. There's a lot of people involved, or a handful of people involved, when you want to buy land, buy a house, start a business. And you got to take some time to be able to figure out who is um, who are the people that you can trust. Because there's going to be a bunch of people when you get off the plane, girl, they see you. They see you coming. They see you coming with open arms. I'm coming to Africa, y'all. I'm coming home. Look at me. I'm coming. And they see you with your money in your pockets. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And so, they're gonna be people who are gonna be coming to you. They're not qualified to do nothing, to show you nothing, to offer you nothing. But they talk like they do. Um, and you have to learn how to be discerning about who is trustworthy and who is not, because the people who you trust when you first arrive may be a totally different set of people after your first year here in Rwanda or elsewhere on the continent, or really anywhere in the world. Folks, I've been meeting people, and they're talking about how they met somebody online, and then they bought land online, and sometimes it works out, but it doesn't always works out. It doesn't always work out all the time. So give yourself some time to come and visit a country, learn a little bit of the language, sort of, get used to hearing it, get used to the people, get used to sort of the nuances of being in a new culture, get a feel for the different neighborhoods in a particular city that you may want to be able to live in. You certainly want to be discerning about the people that you hang around, because a lot of people here, they're here for your money. I'm not saying that that's everybody, but you got to learn who is who, and who to trust, and what to trust them with. That's very important. And I think that a lot of people, they don't really think about the fact that when you move to a new country, you become a new person. So the decisions that you are making in the States may not necessarily be the same decisions that you make once you get to a new country, because you're doing it with a totally different level of consciousness. So the person that you were in the States is not going to be the same person that you are when you move to your new country, especially once you get 6 months to a year into your trip, into your experience. You may not even recognize yourself anymore. And so you don't want to come here with this rush American attitude of having to conquer and settle everything, um, putting all of this money into a business, and 6 months to a year from now, you're making totally different decisions. So that's really important for people to be able to consider. Again, I'm not discouraging you from wanting to start things when you come to a new country. I'm just saying this is something to think about. So number 2, when you come to your new country, you want to be able to take time to decompress from your life, from your old life. That takes a minute. That's another reason why you don't want to really decide immediately that this is the country I'm going to be in for the rest of my life. You need a minute to be able to decompress from what it is that you experienced in America, particularly as a Black person. That takes some months. For me, it's taken me a good 5 years to feel fully decompressed. Like I've given myself space. I'm not saying that you need to take 5 years, but for me to really feel comfortable in where my mind is, in my level of mental stability, and my level of health and well-being, that has taken some time. Hey, Nurse Patty. Good morning from Maryland. Glad to catch you live. I'm so glad that you are here, Patty. I'm glad to see you. Yeah, so it's taken me 5 years to really decompress from what I used to live in the States. And now I feel like I've lived in really small places over the last 5 years just because I've wanted to be able to sort of stick to myself. I didn't really have the time or the space to be involved in big city life and doing a bunch of nightlife and going out to go dating and all sorts of other things. I didn't have the time for it. I didn't have the space for it in my life because I was really just sort of doing my own thing in my life. So what I have been doing is just sort of getting to know myself and sort of decompressing from everything. And so when you go overseas, you really want to be able to give yourself the space to do nothing. Have space to do nothing. And it's okay. And a lot of us, we have trouble feeling like, we're going to go someplace and just do nothing. But you have so much to gain from being able to do nothing, because in your doing nothing, what you're really doing is you're sort of unraveling and maybe even analyzing some of the pieces of who you were in the States, and you get to decide whether or not you want to keep any of that stuff, or there may be pieces of that you want to get rid of and replace it with something else. And that's a long process, and we don't give ourselves space to do that in the States where a lot of us come from, because everything is go go go, achieve achieve achieve, get a new degree, get a new job, you got to make the money. We don't give ourselves space to be. So we sort of feel like failures if we stop and we do nothing. But really doing it's you realize how much of your life, um, you realize just how much more of your life you can get when you sit down and you do nothing. You get to really think about some of the decisions that you've made about your life that have gotten you to the position that you are now, good or bad. So that's really important. You need space to do nothing because you've never really given yourself an opportunity to sit down and do nothing. And you don't realize how beneficial that is until you actually get into it. You don't really need to be responsible. Get rid of that notion that you need to do responsible things. I'm not telling you to go out and do things that are stupid. I'm just saying that people want to come to a new country and they feel like immediately that they must do something to settle, to be able to make space for for other people, to make space, to be able to make money someplace. But maybe that's not what you need to do right now. Maybe you just need to rent a small space right now for yourself, to be able to that's going to be comfortable for you, and you just need some time to be able to stick to yourself. So don't think that you need to be responsible immediately and you got to make all of this money immediately so that you can show to people that your trip abroad was worth it. Or even to feel like you need to feel like you need to prove that going abroad was doing something for you. You're really just this is a decision that you're making on your own. It's something that you're doing for yourself. Patty says, I'm at the point right now being midway through my PhD program, and I'm sure if I want to continue, the struggle is within. Just the struggle within is real. It absolutely is. And it's really to say that um, when people say that the struggle is real, people pleasing has been your problem. Yeah, myself too. And it is a struggle that you just kind of learn to sit and analyze. But it's a good struggle at the same time. it's good to be able to wrestle with these thoughts and um, to sort of realize and see those patterns in your life that may not have been obvious before. It's these quiet moments where you really make the best parts of your life, at least in my opinion. People are afraid of quiet. They don't want to sit down in one place and be with themselves. But when you really sit down and start to think about some of the decisions that you made and why you're making those decisions and who you're making those decisions for, um, you start to make changes with your life. And I'm going to tell you, everybody's not going to be happy about it. Let them be unhappy. It's not your problem. It's not even your problem. So again, when you move overseas, right? When you move overseas, you're in the process of becoming a new person, and this is a good process. Um, and also, you want to let go of the need to be able to schedule everything. This also connects to our need to want to be responsible. Feeling like I'm supposed to have seen these exhibits or these sites by a certain time. I need to have visited these restaurants in this amount of time. And really, the best part of my time that I have been abroad, I am telling you, at least in Rwanda, has been sitting on my porch, my balcony off of my bedroom. I have a video, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, where I just sat and I'm sitting on my bedroom balcony and I'm showing the view of what it looks like. I have spent so many hours there sitting in meditation with myself and just getting some sunshine, or I'll take my journal out there with me. Um, Sometimes I'll sit there with my headphones on and, I'll be listening to music or listening to some sort of a motivational self development video or something. But I really have not done a lot since I've been here. At least outwardly, I have not done a lot. When I lived in Vietnam, my best times were napping on the beach, literally napping. I would go to the beach in the morning. I would get sit in one of those areas under the umbrella. I would get myself a couple of coconuts, lay out with my blanket and my little cushion that they would give you to put on the wooden chairs, and I would knock out to the sound of the ocean waves, doing nothing. Nothing. Just do nothing. Give yourself an opportunity to do nothing. And this is the time when the pieces of your life come together. If you feel like your life is an absolute complete mess, you don't know why you're doing things, you're doing people pleasing, just go do something for yourself. Nothing. And then it's in this time, I started to realize that what I was actually doing was I was dissolving a lot of my Americanness. A lot of my Americanness was being dissolved in my doing nothing, because we're a culture that likes to, um, we like to prize ourselves on achieving and doing things for other people and being the best at something. Sitting around doing nothing is looked at upon as being lazy. And none of those things are true. None of those things are true. It's particularly if you're using this time to be useful to your own health and well-being, all of those things are a lie. And then my third piece of advice to new Black women travelers is to be patient with people and to realize that the people in the new country that you're moving to are also being patient with you. I'll repeat that because I don't think I said that clearly enough. That you need, when you move to your new country, You need to be patient with the people of the country that you're going to, but also realize that they are being patient with you. I say this in reference mostly to speaking the English language. A lot of us don't realize that the planet does not revolve around the English language, unfortunately. And I've just been in some situations where um, people don't realize that they have their own accents. You know, all Americans don't speak the same way. Of course, we as Americans understand that. Yes, grace and patience is needed on both sides. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so all of us don't speak the same English. We all don't speak the same type of English. And so I've been with people when we go overseas and perhaps we're in a restaurant or something, and you're ordering something and you don't realize that the type of English that you are speaking in a very fast pace. And to people who don't speak English as their first language, or they're just using struggle English because maybe their education has been limited or their exposure to the English language has been limited. I see some of us get really upset with the waiters or whomever it is that we're speaking to, when they don't immediately understand what they're saying. So you order your sandwich or whatever, and then the waiter is trying to repeat what you said, and perhaps they got it wrong. And the American person who's making the order is saying, I just said this. Why didn't you hear this? It's just sort of, it's annoying to watch for me. And then I feel like I have to sort of step in and sort of, clean up the situation a little bit and try to remember to get the person to sort of slow down because they get an attitude about it. The English that you speak can very much depend on, where in the country you were raised. It could also very much depend on, what side of the neighborhood you were raised on. You understand what I'm saying? So everyone is not going to understand you immediately. And you will get so much further if you just learn how to stop, smile, take a breath, listen to what people are saying, and slow your language down. Speak slower. Use shorter words. I know that may take some getting used to because you're just used to speaking off the top of your head and everybody getting it. But everybody doesn't get you. I'm just sorry. Everyone doesn't get you. And to believe that everybody should understand what it is you're saying because you speak English is really just sort of self-centered. So don't travel around with the expectation that everyone should understand you. You be patient with them because they're being patient with you, because you don't speak let's be honest, they speak a little bit of your English, but you don't speak a lick of their language at all. And you didn't even bother to try. So, just slow it down and have a little bit of humility when trying to communicate with local people. Exactly. Yes. Nurse Patty understands. So those are my 3 tips. My question of the day: what do you want to know about having a business while traveling abroad? What do you want to know? What's important to you to know when you take your writing business or any sort of a business abroad? What do you want to know about? So let's recap the video. My 3 tips for new Black women travelers. Number 1 is to resist the urge to want to settle down immediately. Rather than settle down immediately, come with the notion that you're just trying to get a feel for the place, decide if you like it. Number 2, take some time to decompress from your life, the life that you had in the States. Take some time to do absolutely nothing. It's okay for you to stop and do nothing. Do it for 6 months. Do it for a year if you can absolutely afford it. When I went to Thailand for a year. Um, I won't say that I did nothing. I certainly had a business, but I was only making like maybe $1,200 on a good month every month, just to be able to pay for my travels. Mostly because I was way more sick than I was absolutely sick when I left the States. So I didn't really have the energy to be running a full blown business making big dollars. And so I moved to a country where I didn't have to do a lot because my first place, I think I paid like $225 a month for rent for a studio apartment. And then the most expensive place that I lived in while I was there was $350 a month. And that was a luxury condo apartment with this gorgeous pool with waterfalls and all sorts of other stuff. So I went to a place where my cost of living was super low. And, I didn't have to do a lot to be able to pay for my living. So I could afford the time to do almost nothing. I would do every couple of days, I would get up and do like client stuff just to be able to make $1,000 to $1,200 a month. And that's really all I had to do. And then number 3, be patient with people of the country. Be patient with the people that you're going to visit in your new country, and also realize that they are also being patient with you as far as language is concerned. So thank you so much. I'm happy I got this video done earlier today. Thank you, Nurse Patty, for hanging out with me. It's always great to see you on the live. And I will be back tomorrow with another video. Thank you for watching. Peace.